Hello, this is Coffee Break with Ninita, a daily guide of coping skills that gets us through by making us strong. Do you know what is the hardest that cause people not to give up the negative, the half attitude, the old pain, like we call it this week? You guessed it right. The attitude, the half attitude, indicates it's a proof of something that has happened in us that was hurtful. There was anger, loneliness, fears, and frustration in the events that took place that caused us to have this attitude. Therefore, when we are asked to change the attitude, very often what we hear is that all the emotions that I experienced from the events that took place, I have to deny them, to dismiss them, to act as if nothing wrong has happened. The reason we keep a negative attitude is as a loyalty to bad events happening to us. Unfortunately, even though we understand that the reason for this attitude is justified, nothing good can come of it. And that is the tricky part. How can we separate our attitude from the painful events that have happened to us? You see, I'm not dismissing bad events happening if I have a positive attitude. I do not dismiss them. And the idea that if I have a positive attitude, the world will think that I'm okay with what has happened. No, we think that way, you're right. But this is not that simple. Very often, bad things that happen, that are followed by half attitude, they lose their meaning. They lose the significance of these bad things because the bad attitude draws the attention. And very often we get opposite results. In other words, the bad attitude makes the bad events, after all, not being that bad, as if my bad attitude, my half attitude, instead of proving how much I endured, I suffered, on the contrary, makes us feel that, well, those events, maybe they were justified because of our bad attitude. You see, what I just said, which is very unfair, very often is the result of our negative half attitude, where the attitude, which is direct result of bad events, makes people justify the bad events that happen to us. Our negative attitude, when bad events happen, like I said, shadow the degree and the cruelty and the bad that has happened to us. The whole attitude, on the other hand, makes people think how unfair it is, all the bad that happens to people that have a whole attitude, and how despite what has happened, the terrible things that have happened, keeping the chin up, not with a chip on my shoulder, but in a warm, happy, optimistic, loving, and empowering way. I'm keeping this very short because it is important that the main idea of how terrible things happening that cause, as a result, bad attitude to people that suffer, that attitude overshadows the events that preceded. But when the attitude is whole, the events, people talk about those events, the bad events that happen to good people, feeling how injustice and unfair it is for this person with the whole attitude undergoing through terrible times.
We thank you for listening to Coffee Break with Ninita. Our goal is to help our StayWHOLE community work through their challenges. Please join this cause by supporting us on Patreon. You can do that for the price of just 1 cup of coffee per month. Just click on the Patreon link in the podcast description below, or simply visit us at www.patreon.com/StayWHOLE. We appreciate you and hope we can help you stay whole.